Yo, what's up guys? Josh the Grinder here, and we're back with another recap of how my journey is going from a unprofitable lifelong loser essentially to hopefully a profitable grinder. So if you guys are new here, basically the story is I've been a losing poker player all of my life, but then I contacted the best 2.5 no limit player in Vegas, hit him up on Instagram, and he actually decided to take me on as a student. So I'm just documenting my journey of going from an unprofitable poker player, basically a lifelong fish, to hopefully a profitable grinder. And in this video, I'm going to cover the last 3 sessions I had. We've been running good, as you can tell from the title of this video. I have 3 sessions, 3 wins, which I cover. And basically the point of this vlog is just to break down some of the hands I go through so that I can really just think through my play and make positive EV decisions. I'm not trying to go crazy and do it for the entertainment value, but more so just for myself, right? If I was trying to lose weight, then I would try to document my weight loss journey. Same thing with poker. I'm trying to lose less money, so I'm also documenting my poker journey. So without further ado, let's just dive right in. Session number 4, since I've started coaching with Arrow Poker, my coach, is at the Wynn, $500 buy-in for the 1-3 game. So hand number 1 is basically a mistake that I made with ace-10 suited. So I'm an ace-10 suited on the button. There's a crazy girl in early position, and she raises 2 callers, and then I call, so 4 ways of the flop. Flop comes ace-king x 2 diamonds. She bets 25, and then I call. Turn is just a complete brick. And then the river is a queen, and then she bets $40, and then I just flat. She shows like a queen or something for, yeah, I don't know what she had. Like, I'm like way good here. And I think a mistake I made here was seeing this girl's play so far. She was making a bunch of like weird plays. I mean, clearly she's just like a tourist trying to have fun. She's like making out with her like boyfriend or husband at the table. Yeah, it was just like a really bizarre table. So I felt like if I raised her on the river, she would have paid me off. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I just didn't feel too good about like my hand with just top pair mediocre kicker. I think in general, if I don't have like a nutted kicker with top pair, I don't feel too good about it. But I feel like against a crazy opponent, there's a chance I could raise that river. But yeah, I just like take it down with a flat call. So I think this is the right play against like a normal player. But if it's against like a loose maniac type of person, then you can just probably raise light. But yeah, for me, I'm just trying to go the lower variance route and treat her like a, normal player basically. All right, so hand number 2 from this session, I have pocket 8s from late position. Middle position raises to $15, and I call. Flop comes king 10 8 2 diamonds. He bets $25, and then I actually raise the $75, and then he calls. Turn is an ace of diamonds, so the flush gets there. Goes check check, and then the river is a 4th diamond. It goes check check again. He shows king 9 off with the 9 of diamonds, so he basically called my raise with just top pair, no kicker. But yeah, this guy actually paid me off later in this session, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But I think in general, when I raise the flop, I need to be betting the turn there just to see where I'm at. Like, it doesn't have to be a huge bet, but I felt like the times that I've raised the flop and then just checked the turn, it never ended up well for me. Whether someone gets a free card or, yeah, in this case, I got like kind of sucked out on partially, but that's a mistake I made with pocket 8s. I'm not sure what you guys would do differently. Would you guys check the turn, or would you guys fire that street? Because I maybe could have got him to fold, but who knows? He saw like a 9 of diamonds and probably thought it was good. So on to the next one. Basically, I was playing with my friend. He was actually to the right of me. He plays like a 3-bet or fold strategy, a bit more aggressive. So basically, he was trying to isolate the middle position. There was like a middle position raise, and he 3-bets. The low jack raises $15. My friend David 3-bets to $50. I look down at pocket jack, so I flat, and then so does the low jack. He calls. Flop comes 2-2-2. It checks around to David, who's the pre-flop aggressor, and then he bets $100, and then I call. Turns an ace, and then I check. He goes all in for another 300 or so, and I'm forced to fold there. He later told me he had ace 8 suited, so he did drill the turn, but my coach Arrow was actually watching this play, and he said that that play in line is not a profitable play from his perspective, at least the 1-3 streets, because if he misses the turn, which he's going to do most of the time just because he's just looking for like a naked ace, he's going to get called down by like middling or like pretty much premium pairs, right? Like pocket jacks is a premium hand, and had he missed that ace, I would have won that pot. So, and my coach was giving me feedback that on a flop such as 2-2-2, I need to lead the flop just because I think he said I should have bet the flop or check raise the flop. basically got more money in on the flop because I could have got him out. And a lot of people who are 3-betting light are gonna just have like air there, like he did. So yeah, I felt like I played fine this hand. Honestly, like when it happened, my coach was like, "Oh, do you guys check down?" And I was like, "I have no idea." David went ahead and like fired the 100, so that was the answer right there. All right, hand number 4. So going back to hand number 1 with the crazy girl, this was like the hand of the session. Basically, we were short-handed. I limped 2-4 suited under the gun. Crazy girl raises to $15 from hijack, and then I call. Flop comes queen 4-2, so I flop bottom 2 pair. I check. Crazy girl bets $20. I raise to $65. She just shoves for $300. I snap call, obviously. Turns a 3 of hearts, and then rivers a jack of clubs. So yeah, she shows like ace queen offsuit. I guess she had top, and then I take it down. So yeah, I feel like I ended up getting paid off by that girl. It's one of those situations where I feel like in the 1-3 streets, a lot of times you can get paid off by like people who just think top pair is good, especially against a raise. But you know, if you're getting raised in 1-3, usually it means that like the opponent has a pretty strong hand. Since a lot of people don't really semi-bluff in these stakes, so what I've learned is, you know, top to a raise is usually not good. You're probably losing the 2 pair or set. At worst, she has like a monster draw, like maybe 3-5 of hearts, open-ended and flush draw. So yeah, that was pretty much like the winning hand of the session. And then I wanted to go like get dinner. So me, David, and another friend who were at the Wynn poker room playing went to PF Chains in Planet Hollywood. Like, side note, don't go there. Like, the parking is way too expensive. It was like $25, and then the food was mediocre. I guess the food was okay, but the service is slow. So we basically went to dinner, and then after dinner, I went to Resorts World to play. So you guys know I love the Wynn to Resorts World combination. And this was an interesting session since I feel like this was one of those moments where had I lost the first hand, which I'm about to cover, back when I was more like gambly and not a profitable player at all, then I probably would have let it tilt me to oblivion and go on like complete monkey tilt and start punting. But I feel like because I have a coach, because I'm playing more hours and just taking the game more seriously overall, I just felt like this hand didn't really get to me too badly. So first hand of the session at Resorts World, I look down at pocket aces. Literally as I'm sitting down, first hand, I look down, pocket rockets. I open under the gun +1 to $15. Guy next to me calls, button 3-bets me to 45, and then I actually 4-bet him to 120, and then only the 3-better calls. Flop is 10-3, so I just shove for 225 his remaining stack, and yeah, he snap calls, turning river brick out. He has pocket 10, so he flopped a full house and just doubles up right there. I asked Coach Errol what to do there, and he actually said the 4-bet was the right play, but he would have sized up to 145 instead of 120. Although I do think the way this hand played out was like pretty negligent since, yeah, it's like $25 difference. I feel like the money would have got in. And then Arrow also said that he would have down bet to $60 on a safe looking flop after that 4-bet. So if I down bet to 60 and then he raises me, I think I just have to call there, just given the pot odds. And yeah, he just said this was a setup hand, so there's like nothing you can do about it. But I think in general, I have a tendency to just try to get the money in on the flop on these like massive 3-bet pots. But I can probably play it more safely, try to get more information, like down bet basically in this situation where it's like a relatively safe flop, except for the one hand that the guy had, pocket 10s. So yeah, that was the first hand of the session, down 400, so down 1 buy-in. I reload. And then the other notable hand of this session was basically I had queen 8 of spades. I raised to $15 in the middle position. Button, who was straddling calls, and then the blind calls. I probably should have made it more since there's a button straddle. I'll probably make it to $20. Okay, so the flop comes queen 6-2 spade draw. So I have top pair and a flush draw. Some guy bets $5. I raise it $15, and he re-raises to $45. So then I call. Turns a 2, goes check, check. Then river is the 4 of spades, and he shoves for $50, and then actually tank for a bit. Then I just make the call, and then yeah, he shows the ace of spades. So we take that one down. And then I think the rest of the session was just like kind of like grinding through everything. So like the first session that I played, I was in for $500. I rebought for $200, and then I cashed out for $1,057 for a profit of $357. And then for this session at Resorts World, I was in for $400, rebought for $400, so in for $800 total, and then cashed out for $1,115 for a profit of $315. So basically, I like grinded back the money. Honestly, I didn't have too many notable hands. I felt like it was all pretty straightforward. Like raise good hand, hit the flop, bet 1 or 2 streets, then take it down, or call with a good hand and then outflop my opponent, get paid off. So yeah, that was pretty much session number 5. So 5 wins in a row at this point. And then this leads us to the last and final session of this video, the South Point session. So South Point is one of those casinos that is off of the strip. And the one downside of playing at an off-strip casino is that they have like a jackpot rate. So they take an additional like $1 or $2 from each hand for the jackpot, which is not good if you're like grinder, which is not good if you're a grinder like me, just because you're playing just for like, you're basically trying to play for as low of a rake as possible. That's why 1-3 is so hard to beat, because the rake structure, they take so much money from each pot that like 2-5 and even 5-10 is more profitable from a pure rake structure. Obviously, the player pool is way harder just because people want to play 2-5 and 5-10, since you can make much more money there. But for me, as like a grinder, I want to try to grind my bankroll up to at least 10K before I start playing 2-5. But yeah, so literally the first hand I sit down, I basically had to take. I basically ate like a really bad combo of Chipotle and Chipotle and Dairy Queen, right? It was like such a bad combo. So I sat down at the table in one of the middle seats, like seat 5 or 6, right in front of the dealer. I go to the bathroom, do my business, come back. I realize there's a corner seat available, so I switched seats. So I moved my stack all the way over to the corner seat. I look down at pocket 10s. Under the gun +1 raises to 25, so he's sitting right next to me on my right. I flat with pocket 10s, guy to my direct left calls, and then the button makes it 125. So yeah, we all flat. Pot's already $500 first hand in the game. Flop comes 10, Jack 8, 2 hearts. So I flop middle set. The action actually checks through. I was hoping to check raise, but then no one bet. The turn comes the Queen of Heart, and then this is like such a bad play. I bet 250 into the pot, so half pot with like, it's like 600 buy-in at South Point. So I had like 270, 225, 325 bet. Wait, yeah, after the 250 bet, I had 225 left, and then the original raiser on the button who 3-bet shoved, and I just snap call. And yeah, he shows ace king. He absolutely drilled the straight on the turn, and I didn't pair up. I didn't boat up. So I told Coach Arrow about this, and he was like, I already knew what your opponent had before he shot. Like ace king's the obvious straight there, and even the flush draw gets there, so I'm really not beating anything. He told me I should have just shoved on the flop, just because it was such a wet flop multi-way, and I feel like had I shifted on the flop for $475, basically a pot size bet, I would have taken it down right then and there, just because ace king can't call there with a naked gut shot. But instead, I not only checked, but then I like donated, right? He said if I check there, I just fold on the turn bet. But yeah, so that was unfortunate. And then literally the very next hand, I looked down at king queen off under the gun. I opened to $20. The guy on my left calls, and then the big blind 3-bets to $80, and I just flat there. Flop comes 2-3-9, 2 hearts. He c-bets $50, and I call. Turn comes 5 of hearts, so 3 hearts on board, and I have the king of hearts, and then he bets 130, and I only have 270 behind because I only topped up for 400. I brought 1K, so yeah, I just tank fold. I told Arrow about that hand, and he told me to such a large 3-bet sizing to just fold there. You don't call king queen off out of position there. So yeah, that was another unfortunate hand. So yeah, just right off the bat, I was already down like $800 just from 2 hands. So I go to the ATM, get some more money. I break the 3 buy-in rule, but I just felt like this game, it had just started, and it was like playing a lot deeper and looser than I was used to. It honestly played more like a 2-5 or even 5-10 game, and I felt like the guy on my right was driving all the action. He was just like super laggy player. Fortunately, he was to my right, so I could kind of see what he was doing, instead of like, if he was to my left and like 3-betting me super wide, then it would have been kind of annoying. But yeah, the next notable hand, which was a pivotal hand for the session, I looked down at king 10 offsuit on the button. Middle position raises to $15. There's 2 callers, and then I call from the button. Small blind raises to $60, and then there's one person who folds, and then there's 2 callers, and then I call just because pot odds. Flop is 9 queen jack rainbow, so I flop the joint, I flop the nuts, stone cold nuts. So then it checks over to me, and I bet 150 into the pot of 240, and then only the small blind, who was the original 3-better, called. Turn is 3 of spades, and then the small blind just open shoves for $315. So I think a little bit, then call. I mean, I hate it when people have the nuts to fucking to Hollywood. Although I have done that before. But yeah, basically I just call pretty quickly. And then the river's another 3. So he shows king queen of spades. So he basically had top pair, a gut shot, as well as the spade draw, and then yeah, take it down. We had about equal stack sizes, around $575 to start the pot. We had about equal stack sizes, around $575 to start the hand. So This was just like a huge pot for me to get about even. So pretty much unstuck after that one big hand. And then the next notable hand of the session, I looked down at ace jack off from middle position. So there's a straddle under the gun. Under the gun +1 calls a straddle, I call, and then one more guy calls, and straddle checks his option. So flop comes ace king 4, 2 clubs. Under the gun checks. Under the gun +1 makes it $40. I call, and then late position calls. And then the original checker shoves short for $139. The loose under the gun +1 guy folds, you know, the guy to my right, and then I make the call. Turn comes offsuit 10, so then check, check. River comes offsuit 5, and then check, check. So turn comes offsuit 10, river comes offsuit 5. It just checks around. The guy who shoved had queen 7 of clubs, so he had a flush draw, and then the lady who called had ace 3 off. So yeah, we take that one down with ace jack. Ace jack is one of those hands where I think maybe in higher stakes you can use it as like a, especially ace jack suited, you can use it as like a 3-bet to polarize your range. But for 1-3, I feel like ace jack is best to play in a smaller pot, just because oftentimes if you hit the ace, you don't really know if you're good. So you kind of need to rely on like hitting 2 pair with like ace jack. So yeah, I think like ace jack offsuit is just not the best hand to play, especially with big pots. Ace jack suited is a different story, because then you have outs to make the ace high flush, which is a lot stronger than just like a top pair weak kicker. All right, hand number 5. This is like a really weird hand just because it was shorthanded, but I looked down at king 10 off in under the gun. I straddled. So the loose big blind guy calls to my right. Flop comes ace king 2, so I flop bottom 2. I bet $10 and he calls. Turn is a 6. I bet $15 and then he raises to $40 and I just call. River's another 2 and then, you know, I boat up. Yeah, boy boats up right in the boat. So I check. He bets $100 and then I raise at $250. And then, yeah, he just snap calls me and then I take it down. He shows ace 6 off. So I was ahead and then he got there on the turn and then I outdrew him on the river. And he ended up leaving after that hand just because, yeah, he was not too happy about, the dealer. He was like complaining about that dealer mainly. But yeah, it was nice to get like a pretty big pot off him on like a straddle, right? It started as a $12 pot essentially. And then the last notable hand of the session is I looked down at pocket kings on the big blind. The straddle is on. The button calls, small blind calls, and then I 3-bet to $26. And then the straddle and small blind both call. Flop comes 3-3-5 rainbow. So I bet $50 and then I think the small blind calls this one. Before the turn is dealt, the small blind checks blind. The turn is a 5 of diamond, so now there's a flush draw out there. I bet 120 and then she calls. And then she check blinds again. The river's an ace of spades, so it just goes check, check. And kings are good. So one of those situations where I don't know what she thought I had, but pocket kings are good there. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up that session. So for this South Point session, I was in for 600, rebought for 1,000, so in for 1,600 total, and then cashed out for 1,965. So that's a profit of $365. And yeah, super happy with that session just because I could have been down like $1,600, but I was able to turn it around starting with that hand where I flopped the straight. And yeah, got paid off for that. And that's pretty much it for this video. Basically, as you can see, you know, 6 wins in a row, still on the sun run, and yeah, feeling good. I feel like just taking notes while I play, texting my coach throughout the session, and just having him keep me accountable has helped my game skyrocket. And your boy is just looking to become a profitable grinder. So obviously my sample size is way too small right now, not enough hours, but the plan is just to keep getting more and more hours over the next 4 months. Hopefully I can hit like 500 hours if I play, well, maybe not 500. Hopefully I can get like at least 300 hours in the next 4 months and yeah, be a profitable player. And if you like what you see, like, be sure to like and subscribe for this channel. Feel free to comment down below too. This is gonna be a situation where I wanna just document my progress and hear your guys' thoughts, because maybe someone who's a 1-3 crusher has some idea that I don't have, or you guys have just some input. We'd love to hear from you guys, but that's gonna be for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.